Hey guys, it's Tape the Grape, and today is about the Aries. I'm going to be driving it to the mechanic shop here in a second, because the other day, was about a week ago, I was driving it across town, and then the brakes started grinding to something real fierce, and then randomly there was a weird electrical sound. Sounded like coming from under the hood, like a sparking type sound, and then a big old whoop 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 type of sound. So I kind of figured out that the electrical sound was the hose from the I'll just show you. So as I said, under the hood, I figured out, I'm about 98% sure this is what it was, that this AC hose, while it was dangling earlier or before, I've got it kind of hooked up in a goofy fashion here, to, tucked in there. It was hovering right above the alternator, and I think it was bouncing and causing electrical sparking because it's kind of worn out where it was. I don't know if that's a thing that can happen. Well, I'm thinking so, because it seemed like that's what was the issue, because once I tucked it up here, it hasn't done it since. But then again, I haven't driven it much farther after, or once I've done that. But anyway, so I'm pretty sure I fixed that issue. And the wub 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 sound on the tires, I thought while I was driving, maybe these are not super old tires, but they're cracked, dry cracked. I thought maybe tread was coming off on them. But I've driven it to a couple miles after the fact, and it didn't do it. So I don't know what that was. And then the grinding of the brakes, I actually had Firestone Automotive look at them, and they said I need new pads because on one side the rivets are showing. And anyway, so they quoted me $900 to get just the front brakes done. I told them, hell no. So I'm taking it to a smaller shop, and they got a much better price quote. That's where I'm taking it now. So anyway, enough talking. Let's get it started up. Oops, hang on. Fuel pump. Let's see, hang on. Let me see if I can get a better angle on this. There we go. It's pretty chilly today, so that was a cold start. But it started up pretty good. But anyway, let's get it to the shop. Got it parked over there. This is the place. I think this is it up here. It's a body shop in the back and a RPM Automotive in the front. But getting the calipers, front rotors, and the brake pads all redone. Or replaced, I should say. And he said he'll call me when he gets done, and we'll see what happens. Now, to elaborate a little more on why I think I need calipers and not just the pads or the rotors, because when like I said, I mentioned I was across town, about 7 miles, I would say. Well, all those things were happening while I was on my way back to my side of town, and thankfully it made it, because again, all 3 of them issues I mentioned were happening all at once. I wasn't sure if they were the same issue or multiple issues. It looks like it's multiple issues, but anyway, so I drove it home. It made it home fine, and then I parked it for about 10 minutes. I was asking my buddy on what he think it could be, and then I was curiosity got the better of me, and I went to start it back up and drove it around the block again. But it seemed like one of the calipers was locked up tight, so that's what makes me think I need new calipers. It could be the brake hoses as well, but when I took it to Firestone, they said those look pretty good, like fairly new. I don't know how true that is, but anyway, we'll see what happens, and I'll let you know when it's done. Alright, so it's a day later, because they needed to get the right brake pads, since they either had heavy-duty ones that these cars came with, or regular ones. They have different calipers, different brake pads, and different rotors, depending on that. Didn't know what it was, so they ordered it before they even looked at it. And they got the right calipers, but the brake pads and the rotors were both wrong. So they just turned my old rotors. Well, they said they did. I'll show you in a second. And they could have reordered the rotors, but they would have been a whole week out from getting them from where they get them from. And then the pads, they were able to get the right ones just a day later. That's why it's tomorrow. Otherwise, I would have got this done yesterday. But anyway, new calipers, new brake pads. And they said they turned my rotors, but they did say when they got them done that the person that they had do them, said that it was already really, like, almost like they definitely needed new rotors or something. I'll show you, they definitely look bad, but anyway, I'll show you. Let's start it up so I can turn the wheel and show you easier. Turn the wheels all the way to the left. Thank you, power steering. And that squeaking is the belt, so I'm gonna shut it off for now so it's not constantly squeaking. Anyway, let's get down here and look. Ugh. There we go. New calipers. New brake pads. Of course, you can't quite see them right now. And the rotors, you can tell that they're not the worst I've ever seen, but they're not the greatest. But that's all right. The new pads will wear into that shape. And I'm just happy to have working brakes. And I realized in the previous clip of yesterday, I didn't even have a video of me showing you how they grind. But they work pretty good now. Take my word for it. Whoops. But anyway, good brakes now. And one last thing, here's the receipt I got, RPM Auto Care, as I've shown you in the previous clips. That's where it's at if you're curious. But anyway, not that it's useful to you unless you live here in the city or nearby. Anyway, it was $70 basically for each caliper. Brake pad, $63 or $62. I'm curious, it says 63 there. You see what I mean, right? Then it says $62.87. Regardless, whatever. Oh, it's $30 each to get the rotors turned. I thought it was only $30 for both, but it's $60 apparently. And that was my total right there. It's still definitely expensive compared to doing it yourself, but I was kind of in a time crunch, wouldn't have time to do it myself, and so it was more of a convenience thing I was paying for. But it's much better than the $900 that Firestone Complete Auto Care was going to charge me. I'll take that any day of the week, but let me know what you think.